Recording from the heart of Providence, Rhode Island, you are listening to the Red Card Report podcast. If you like the show, head over to iTunes, leave us a review, and even share the podcast with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button on any of your favorite podcast apps so you get all the latest updates and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoy the show. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Red Card Report podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Ponte, and as always, I am here with Rui Pereira and Joe Capuano.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boys, international break. It's a very sad time. Sometimes it's a very sad time for football fans.
Yeah.
Because there's no league play, there's no Champions League, nothing. And just qualifying games for the Euro, I believe, right?
Yep. Not even the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, not even the Carabao Cup. So disappointing. But, I mean, Italy won today.
I was just going to say, there were a couple of good matches. Unfortunately, Portugal drew to Ukraine, but Italy did win.
Italy beat Finland. I know it doesn't sound like it's big competition, but it matters. It really matters. A win's a win.
I know it means a lot to you, Joe, because Italy scored more than one goal for the first time in
dude, my mind's
years.
blown. Honestly, seriously. You know, it's good to finally get a win in the books.
I think Moise Kean is that guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. He really is the guy. I mean, Ciro Immobile can't get it done, so Moise Kean's the new kid.
We had
new kid on the block.
We had all this talk that Belotti was going to be the next guy. Ciro Immobile was going to be the guy to carry everyone, and it's just it hasn't been working out for those two, but it's been working out for Moise Kean.
Yeah, I mean, Belotti and Immobile can perform in the league, and we don't know how Kean can perform in the league yet because he's only played like a collective 5 games for the club. So.
And how many goals has he scored this year?
Two. Yeah, he scored a brace. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I think he's going to be really something special for Italy. A very, very different style of play that he's going to provide for the national team at that number 9 position. I think he's going to be really, really special
compared to the previous ones, the previous good ones that we have had, like Inzaghi and Vieri and all those
different styles of play, but I think it's going to fit in just well.
Anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is that Allegri play Moise Kean. That's all I'm saying.
All right, yeah. As much as I would love to talk international break and international soccer, we will have to save that for when those tournaments actually come around, when the Euro and the World Cup come around.
We got some time.
This week, however, I felt it would be a really good opportunity. A while back, there was a fan who reached out to us, asked us to do an episode on Liverpool, and we thought it was a great idea because of the turnaround that Liverpool's done within the last 3-4 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's been incredible,
especially since Fenway Sports Group really took over in 2010. So, seeing as it's international break, we've been kind of doing a lot of research on this over the past couple of weeks. I thought this week in particular would be a great opportunity for us to touch on this subject and really look at Liverpool's success this season and where they could go.
Yeah, it falls nicely.
They have a very good shot at both the Champions League and the EPL title.
Yep.
So, Rui, I don't know if you want to kind of maybe preface the situation for us a little bit, give us a little background on. I know you're pretty familiar with the Fenway Sports Group stuff and kind of. I don't know. Catch us up to today, I guess.
Well, I mean, any other story has a beginning to it. And ever since Fenway Sports took over Liverpool back in 2010, around October of 2010, they came out with a pretty set agenda, was really to revive this club, bring this team back to where it once was. And, you have to give credit to, Fenway Sports Group. They made a really good investment. They had They knew that they were investing in a team that was once one of the best in the world, and they have an enormous fan base throughout the entire world. And it's a great way to invest, and it definitely paid off now for them because...
Yeah, just starting to pay off now for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to pay off. In the beginning, not so much. They were being criticized enormously by their own fans.
Oh,
they actually wanted them out in the beginning.
Of
They were
course.
very upset with some of the decisions.
Those first 5 years were very difficult for them.
Yeah, you could say there was one season in between that they did fairly well. They finished in second place.
Mhm.
In the year that they should have won the league. They bottled it in the last 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it was. And Man City ended up sneaking through and winning the title. So yeah, just a little recap on the first 3 seasons under Fenway Sports. They were pretty bad. The best they ever finished was 6th place.
Wow.
Then that 4th season was the year that they finished in second. Luis Suarez just went off that year. He went
was
mental,
on fire.
pouring in goals. That's what led to him to go to Barcelona the following year. They got a huge deal for him. They thought that, with that revenue, they could invest in a few players and probably get the team kind of back on track, consistent
it's a
at that
decent
top
idea.
level.
Yeah, it's a decent idea.
And you know what? They didn't hit rock bottom, but they dropped again
Close.
down into the standings to 6th place. The following season, Jurgen Klopp takes over in the middle of the year, and the best that he can carry his team is to 8th place. Obviously, it's not his fault. It's this team was in shambles.
Well, he did manage to take them to the Europa Cup final, correct?
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, and it was actually a very unpredictable run, kind of like the one that he had last year, but that was in the Champions League final. But it's something very similar. But we will touch up on that afterwards. But yeah, and after that season, he was able to get some pretty top players.
Yeah,
where
top level talent.
They were young at the time. They were young prospects. It was an investment. It wasn't solidified whether or not they were going to be as good as they are today.
Mm-hmm.
And
He took it was a risk.
It was a risk, yes.
And this was so all these signings were in the summer of 2016, I believe, right?
Yes, 2016.
2016 for the 16-17 season.
Exactly. It was just
Yep.
before that season. And the signings were Wijnaldum, Sadio Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip.
Guys who are in the lineup.
They're in the
now.
lineups every week practically.
Yeah, practically. I know Mane is starting.
And Mane has been pouring in goals this year.
Arguably one of the best, or arguably one of the top 3 best signings since Klopp took over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Good
and
point.
They made so many great signings ever since. And,
Right.
And the way this season has gone for Sadio Mane, it's great investment. Liverpool's got, they've got their money's worth for him. The way that he's been performing week in and week out, and even in his first year
I was going to say, how did they perform in that first season? That's the 16-17 season.
Well, in the 16-17 season, they were even younger than what they are now, and they have actually one of the youngest teams in Europe. And Sadio Mane, he had a huge role to play at a young age, and he did very well. He helped lead this team to a 4th place finish. 2 years ago, a respectable 4th place finish, and that's what they wanted. They wanted to get back into the Champions League, get that extra revenue for just finishing in 4th in the league, and then also getting that little revenue in the for the Champions League spot.
A lot of people don't realize too how important that Champions League revenue is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For a team that's trying to get its feet back underneath.
Yeah, trying to get back on their feet. Yeah.
Trying to get back on their feet. Yes, thank you. That just making it into 4th place, or making it into those
that last qualification spot, or
Exactly.
in the prelims even.
in the prelims, just making it to the Champions League tournament is huge in terms of revenue.
Yep.
Into building the club moving forward. So,
I mean, not saying that they were in financial fair play, bad shape. The club was still in good shape financially. But who's going to turn down more money? If I handed you an extra $200, would you be upset about it?
Yeah, exactly.
No, of course. So that's what this Champions League spot did for them. It gave them that financial
and also another thing too, what it does for the following season, you're in the group stage, you're guaranteed 3 home games in the Champions League.
True.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? That's 3 games that are guaranteed,
Advantage.
3 extra games that are sold out.
Yep.
Especially the Liverpool fan base, they're going
Anfield,
to that game.
Of course.
mm-hmm.
They're all going to that game. And
Anfield.
you're going to get some revenue from the games that you play away. You proceed into the next round, you get maybe another game at home. If you're in the round of 16, guaranteed sellout. It's things like that. That's how crucial it is to make it into the Champions League. Yes, everyone wants to win the league and finish first and all that
good stuff.
But it's also important to secure your spot in Europe.
Yeah, of course. We could do a whole episode on that.
It helped them tremendously too, because the money that they made from qualifying for the Champions League that year, that additional revenue the following season, they were able to go out and make some key signings.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, huge signings.
Exactly. It only helps. It only helps their cause. And when you're a team rebuilding and you're still getting all this mass amount of money pouring into your club, it just makes it easier. And now the following season,
the 17. This is key. The 17-18 season is key.
There are three key players that they signed in the off season. Okay.
This is going into that season.
And then one crucial one in January, but I'm going to touch up on the first three.
Yeah.
Okay. Mohamed Salah.
Never heard of that guy.
Yeah, I don't know who he is either. Andrew Robertson. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty solid players. Right now, Mohamed Salah, one of the best players in the world.
Yep.
And no one expected this, because what he's been able to do in Liverpool, what Klopp has been able to get the absolute best out of him.
It took the words out of my mouth,
is absolutely incredible. It is a masterclass what he's been able to do, because, Salah was very good at Roma.
Yep, and he was good at Fiorentina before that, too.
And Basel as well. He was a pretty decent player. But now it's just, this guy's miles ahead. And for the price that they paid for him.
Peanuts. It looks like peanuts now.
An absolute amazing investment. The payoff
steal.
there is just nuts.
Now they have Andrew Robertson, one of the best young left backs in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Really good player, and he's only just going to get better and better and better. And Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's a solid role player.
Yep. Rotational player, for sure.
Unfortunately for him, he suffered a really terrible injury, and he's been out for quite a while. But, when that kid's healthy,
he's as good as anyone,
he's that type of guy that you can rely on when you need an extra player to attack, an extra player to control possession.
An impact. So.
You need a player to play in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cups, games like that. He'll be there, and he's a pretty decent player.
Yeah, when you got to rest
depth
a key
like
player.
that only helps the team.
Yeah, say you want to rest Mane for a little bit, you can put him in there.
Now I want to move on to this big transfer that they made last January, about 14 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. They sold Coutinho. Coutinho felt that Liverpool is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can go as far in Europe with Liverpool than I could with a team like Barcelona.
Yeah.
So they sell Coutinho
to Barcelona.
For about 130 million euros or whatever it was.
Ridiculous money.
Ridiculous amount of money. And what do they do with that?
They
bought Virgil van Dijk.
Yep.
Arguably the biggest factor in their turnaround, in their success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now you can say that he's probably the best center back in the world right now.
He has a good case, that's for sure, yeah.
Like the way he's been playing, the way he's been able to carry that Liverpool team, the way he's been anchoring that young team, especially in the back. Joe Gomez, his other center back, Arnold, Robertson.
Yep.
Those are young players, and they're playing like men.
Yeah.
They're playing beyond their years.
Before Van Dijk, the Liverpool defense was definitely not as secure. He definitely brings a certain level of confidence for them. The guy marshals that defense so well, and you can see it. You can visibly see it on the field.
And they're only gonna get better under him. He should be wearing that armband.
Yeah, And
I do like Milner. I think he's a great leader, and Henderson's also a very good leader. But when their time is past,
he's definitely next.
Virgil van Dijk's that leader. He's that backbone to that team, that defense. He means so much to them, and the players around him just get better and better with him.
Yeah, you could make a case that Salah should get the armband or Mane should get the armband, but I think Van Dijk definitely has a
worthy
shout.
of it too. Those players are are worthy of wearing the armband as well.
Totally.
So that's a good point. And one of the questions and one of the thoughts that has kind of plagued my mind is Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. How good has Virgil van Dijk been for Liverpool? And who do you guys think is more important to the club?
Do you want to go first, Rui?
Well, for the turnaround, actually, you go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So for me personally, I feel like Salah definitely made a huge impact at the club. Broke a bunch of records with Firmino and Mane, all that good stuff. That front three is on fire.
Broke the EPL record for the most goals in a season too.
Yep.
Last season.
They were incredible. But I'm a defense guy. I like defenders. So for me personally, the guy I would pick who's more crucial to that club is Van Dijk. Van Dijk was that missing piece for that defense. And ever since they acquired him, that defense is really shored up.
Rock solid.
Yep.
And it's so hard to choose. It's really hard to choose between the two because you look at last season what Mo Salah did, especially to teams, not just teams, a team.
Yeah.
Like Manchester City. Okay, they played each other 3 times last winter and spring, the second half of the season, once in the league and then twice in the Champions League.
Yep.
And he absolutely destroyed that team.
Yeah.
They beat them 3 times in a row. The champions of England.
That's awesome.
No team was able to do something like that.
Nope.
And he was able to have that performance, that legendary performance. And you look at Mo Salah throughout last year. I feel like he was the guy last year.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me this question last year, I would say Mo Salah. Yeah. Ever since Van Dijk got to Liverpool, he made an impact immediately.
Yeah.
And if I had to choose this time last year, or even at the end of last season, it'd be Mo Salah.
It would be Salah.
No
doubt about it.
Would he finish 3rd in Ballon d'Or?
I think so, yeah.
But now you look at this year, the way Virgil van Dijk has played, the way that he's, as I mentioned before, been able to better the players around him.
Yeah.
Be that leader, that anchor in the back.
This is also not saying that Mo Salah is having a bad season by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not as good as last year's.
Not as good as last year's, but I feel like that's going to be very hard to top.
Still pouring in goals.
Yeah.
He still
goals
has
and assists.
quite a few assists. As of lately, he hasn't been, on top of his game.
He hasn't been Ballon d'Or worthy. We'll say that.
No, he hasn't been. But they had a fantastic run last year, and you could say that the 2 best players were Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah.
Yeah.
And that leads me to this past summer transfer spending spree that they went on.
Yeah.
Where they
It's a good segue.
They just added more depth to the team that they had last year, which I believe really hurt them in the Champions League.
You mean
last year?
The lack of depth?
When they didn't have, when Salah went down with an injury, they had Lallana in.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in.
Yeah.
He's not a winger. They didn't have Shaqiri. They didn't have a guy like Shaqiri that can go in. And
Shaqiri's a quality player.
And Shaqiri's great. He's been playing fantastic.
And for me, I feel like the most important player that they bought this past transfer window this summer transfer window was Alisson.
Yes.
Definitely a marked improvement over Karius. Not taking anything away from the guy, but Alisson is one of the top keepers in the world.
One of the best.
So,
one of the absolute best in the world.
And I think they shattered that record too. They shattered the record for most money ever spent on a goalkeeper. It was Buffon, but now it's Alisson.
And Alisson, and then 2 other guys that we haven't mentioned was Naby Keita from RB Leipzig and Fabinho from AS Monaco.
Yep.
Now these are 2 center midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they've all had stellar careers at their previous tenures, where they were before. And this just helps their team.
Yeah.
Liverpool as a team last year were fantastic. And when you add these names, you just add 4 players. These 4 players, Fabinho, Keita, Alisson, Shaqiri, all to your team that came in second place in Europe.
Yeah. They bolstered a lot of weak spots.
And they just signed Rafael Camacho from Sporting. He's 17 or 18 years old, a young kid, and they're still building on the future.
Mm-hmm.
And he's supposed to be a really, really good player for the long run, and they're still rebuilding. And that's like one of the many things that Liverpool has done this year, over the last few years, that they're just getting right all the time. Just investing in young players, getting the absolute best out of them, and keeping them there for the long run.
Yeah. And I feel like Liverpool targeted players that will easily fit into Klopp's sort of play style. Their constant pressing.
The Jurgen press.
The Jurgen press, the Geigen press, whatever you want to call it. Just that win the ball back as soon as possible mentality, wherever it may be. If it's closer to goal, great. If it's in the middle of the park, even better. Just keep winning that ball back and forcing them to make mistakes.
So how has Klopp transformed a mediocre Liverpool team to a team that's favorites to win the title and arguably the Champions League this year? How has he been able to do that, and what has been the key to his success?
So, for me, I feel like Klopp has given Liverpool a more solid identity with their tactics. Brendan Rodgers, those guys before Klopp, they all tried to put a style on Liverpool that didn't work. They didn't see what was in front of them. I feel like Klopp is very good at seeing the players that are at his disposal, and I feel like his play style is very easy for the players to grasp. Like it's basically attack, press. So he translates it so well to them.
Mm-hmm.
That was the key to this team's success.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think there's more factors as well. I think he's just a great man manager.
Yeah,
I think he builds a great relationship with the players. He has this genuine curiosity of who they are, what they believe in, and what really inspires them or motivates them to be great, to be successful. In the off season, believe it or not, even throughout the season, he does have a WhatsApp group chat with his teammates, and he has that. It's kind of being that friend.
Yeah,
I think that boosts the players a lot when they have a coach that's there.
It's not just a manager. It's not just a manager,
but someone that cares. And
Yeah.
I think it inspires and it drives players to really give everything on the pitch, at practice, to do the right decisions, to eat right, to sleep enough. And this is so
not
crucial.
going out partying.
Not going out you appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
as a player.
He's got your back. Yeah.
He's got your back. And other things as well is how he's been able to try different approaches on formations, as you've mentioned before.
Yeah.
And he bases his playing style on attacking and forcing, pressing and forcing the opposition to lose possession of the ball and to win the ball back and send it forward.
Yep.
He does that. He can do it in so many formations: a 4-3-3, a 4-5-1, a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. All over the place.
And what else? And other things that he's been able to do is signing the right young players, getting the best out of them, and even getting the best out of star players like Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, who no one really thought they would be as great as they are today.
Yeah.
He's so good at that.
Yep.
And now I want to just name just a few players before we move on to the next topic. I want to mention a few players that they've been able to keep for a minimum the next 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, it's huge.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, 20 years old. Andrew Robertson, he's 25 now. Roberto Firmino, 27. Sadio Mane, 26. Joe Gomez, 21. Virgil van Dijk, 27. Naby Keita, 23. Fabinho, 25. Allison, 26.
Yeah.
And they're good.
And they'll get mileage out of those guys, that's for sure.
I mean, another top club that you can say that is younger than them is Dortmund, but they're miles behind them.
They're miles behind them.
Not even close.
Yep.
What Klopp has been able to do to really transform this club under his watch, it's a masterclass.
Yeah.
Masterclass performance, and unfortunately for him, he hasn't won a trophy yet.
Yep, no trophies.
Which
Still
is
no
weird.
trophies to talk about.
It's really weird because the last 2 seasons, all we have been able to see is Liverpool winning and performing well and having a very strong team, a UCL potential winning team.
Yeah.
What are Liverpool's chances of winning the EPL title this year, or not just this year, but if they fall short to Man City this year, what are their chances of winning it either this year or within the next few years, knowing that they have such a young squad and Jurgen Klopp is here to stay?
So in regards to the EPL,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We'll talk about the Champions League title in it. After.
In a second. So I feel like they have a really good shot. I feel like they can pull it off
This season or next, or like within the future?
If not this season, they got to go for it next season. They really do.
I think they're going for it right now.
Yeah. Oh no.
Are they going to?
Are they
going
to pull it off? I feel
tough.
like they can. Man City has so much depth. They have a great coach, and they also have a game in hand that Liverpool doesn't. Liverpool has played one more game than they have, so theoretically, we're going to give a win to Man City in this aspect.
Yeah, and under that circumstance, Man City would be ahead of Liverpool. Say they do win that game that they are behind, they would be ahead by Liverpool by 1 point in the standing. So it is
It's
really
gonna be
close. With 7 games to go for Liverpool and 8 for 7 for quite a few teams, including Liverpool, and then 8 including Man City and also other teams.
That one extra game could be huge. We don't know. I'm assigning a win to them just because of the way Man City has been playing.
Yeah, Man City's been absolutely phenomenal this year. They look unstoppable to me.
Yeah.
Just the way how much depth they have, like quality depth they have. Like they have Mahrez coming off the bench.
Yep.
You know,
ridiculous talent. They can sit Aguero and still win games.
Yeah, and they have 4 very good center backs.
I mean, De Bruyne was out for a while.
And they were still winning.
And they were still winning because of the phenomenal play by Bernard Silva.
Yeah, Bernard Silva being able to move from the wing all the way to
where
the middle
De Bruyne
of the field.
was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
So just to answer the question plainly, yes, I think they can do it. Will they? That's really hard to say. I think Man City is going to win the title. Sorry, Liverpool fans. I think Man City is going to do it.
Yeah, I think Liverpool can do it. It's going to be a little tough. They have a couple of big games coming up still that they have to play. They have to play against Tottenham, which is the next game.
Yeah,
that's
play crucial.
You know, Tottenham's not, up to the usual form that they're in, but it's still a big game. It's still, I wouldn't say it's a derby, but it's one of the biggest games of the year for both sides. And they're still going to have to play against Chelsea. Last game of the season, Wolverhampton, a very respectable squad.
Yeah,
who can really ruin.
Yeah, they can.
That's a team that can ruin Liverpool's chances if it comes down to
one last
game.
Yeah.
That team can really
walk in the park.
They can cause some havoc.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they can do it. It's a little bit of a stretch because there's only a few games left. Man City's form has been incredible. Liverpool, as of lately, to me, they haven't been all that convincing. They're very, very good. They're still grinding out tough wins, which is why we consider them as one of the best teams in the world. Maybe they'll turn it around, but I don't know. It's going to be really tough. I think if I were to put my money on it, I'd probably go Man City, but I won't be surprised if Liverpool pull it off. And then for the long run, absolutely. I think next season or the year after, I think you can see a dynasty coming through, and it's going to be painted red and white from Liverpool.
Manchester United's not going to be happy about that.
What do you think Liverpool's main prize should be? Either the EPL title or the Champions League?
Yeah, me personally, if I were a Liverpool fan, I think I'd want the EPL title.
I feel like a lot of them do, just because of how long it's been.
Yeah, and another scary fact is Liverpool have never won a Premier League title, and what I mean by that is they switched the name of the league or the trophy or whatever the name of the league from the English Football League to the English Premier League back in 1992.
When was the last time they won it?
1989-90 season, I believe. So it's been almost 30. I think it's been almost 30 years since they won. And I think if you ask, like Liverpool, they won in 2005. They went to the final, 2005 Champions League.
Yeah,
they went to the final in 2007, came up short. They have the Champions League history.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do have the English league history, but it's been 30 years. You know, they're a big club. They're a big name. They shouldn't go 30 years without winning a title. And, you know, they have 5 Champions Leagues under their belt. Yes, most teams will say, I want the Champions League more than the league. I think, you know, I can't name another team that would want the league over a Champions League besides Liverpool, and I think it's for that reason.
Yeah, the fact that it's been almost 30 years. That says a lot. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I just don't know if you're going to be able to get past the depth of Manchester City.
Yeah.
One last question before we wrap things up. Overall, how do you guys rate the job that Fenway Sports Group has done at Liverpool since they took over back in 2010?
Out of, if I had to give them a grade, like out of 10,
because they didn't start very well.
No, they didn't start very well.
And it's really only been the last 3, maybe 4 years.
Seasons.
Yeah.
And is it Fenway Sports Group who's responsible for Liverpool's success, or is it Jurgen Klopp and his signings?
I mean, as with a lot of things, it's always a combination of both. But if any other group had taken over, who's to say that they would have still ended up in the same spot? So if I had to give them a grade out of 10, I give them a solid 8.
Yeah.
I give them a solid 8. I mean, sure, with any project, you're going to need a lot of time from start to end product to really see results. Sure, it's going to be bumpy in the beginning. That's the way these things go. But now they're just starting to reap the rewards, and that's good. That shows that their plan was put into action in the right ways. So, like I said before, solid 8 out of 10. That's a respectable score, I feel like.
Yeah, a solid 8 is a good score. 8.59. It's really hard to ever give a 10 in these circumstances, because when it comes to a rebuilding stage, there's no such thing as a perfect project.
Yeah.
You know, as we saw in the first 3 seasons, they were pretty terrible. They weren't the best performances. It wasn't what the Liverpool fans were expecting. They thought they would be on track a little bit sooner, but
takes time.
In a project, it starts with the board. It starts with the people that are responsible, of making all these decisions. It starts there, and I want to touch on a few things. I want to touch on a few things where the FSG group, they made a few promises to the club, and initially in the first few years, they did not live up to the promises because the Liverpool fans were getting very impatient with them. They felt that they weren't making the right moves after 3 years. But you know what? They promised to reduce and write off the debt that was left over by the previous owners, the previous groups, and they have. Yeah. It's not completely wiped out, but it's under control.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less than it was before. They attracted quality to the club, as we mentioned in the previous signings.
Yeah, of course they did.
And they're doing a very good job. And we've mentioned before in the past in the Manchester United episode where not only they're doing everything right in the board, where Manchester United's not doing right now, or I mean on the field, they're doing everything right on the field, and they're also doing everything right upstairs in the board, where Manchester United's not getting everything right when it comes to things on the field.
Right.
And you look at the revenues.
Good point.
You look at the revenues that both teams are making, that both teams make every single year. Liverpool's is up there. It's nowhere. It's not close to Manchester United, because I don't think anyone can ever get close to that. But they're among one of the best in the world.
Yeah, they're top 10 in revenue for sure.
And a couple more things. They've been able to win games. That's another thing that they promised. They promised to get Liverpool in a position where they're winning games. They haven't won a trophy in a little bit.
But they're winning games.
They're getting back on track. And within time, they will win a trophy. It could be this year. And you're getting this sense, this last one. They promised to restore that legendary winning culture. Yeah,
Yep.
They're winning games.
Of the past.
You can win games for a season and then fall off, like it did happen for 1 year. In the fourth year, it was.
Something like that, yeah.
They're consistently winning now.
Yeah.
This is the third straight season where they've been able to qualify for where they finished top 3.
They
will finish top 3. They're consistently winning. Last year, they went really, really far into the Champions League. This year, they're neck and neck with the defending champions. When you're able to do something like that, I think a 9 is a good rating for them. 8.5, 9.
All right. On that note, we will finish things up right now. Any last words before I close this out?
You'll never walk alone.
And you will never, ever see me talk so highly about Liverpool again.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
All right. That's
Milan
it.
fan through and through.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us this week on the Red Card Report podcast. We hope you enjoyed this show on Liverpool. But if you did like the show, please head over to iTunes and leave us a rating and a review. It always helps the show, and we really, really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button on any of your favorite podcast apps so you get all the latest updates and notifications. Lastly, be sure to check us out and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Our Instagram and Facebook is at Red Card Report, and we're also on Twitter at RCR_podcast. Thanks again for listening, and join us next time for another edition of the Red Card Report.